Hey, I'm Isabella.
I'm Miles.
I'm Delilah.
And I'm Robert, and we're the Nimitz Student Social.
On February 26th and the 27th, the Nimitz V Treble Choir and the Boys Choir had come home with 2 plaques. The boys came home with all ones in concert and all twos in sight reading. The V Treble Choir had come home with all twos in concert and all ones in sight reading. Even though the boys and the girls were competing with each other, they ended up being the best in their own ways.
Hello, Seahawks. As most of you beautiful babies know, the STAR test is upon us. I hope that our students are prepared and ready to rock the STAR. For 8th graders, the Math STAR test will commence on Tuesday, April 9th, and the Reading STAR test for 8th grade will be on April 10th. And 7th grade writing is on April 9th. I hope all of us are prepared for the STAR. I know testing can be very stressful, so it's best for all of you to get that rest and relaxation in between all that studying.
There is a special someone I'd like to give a shout out to. This person works non-stop to perfect her students, and that teacher is Miss Kelly. She has been working to the bone with her students, making sure that her choir is prepared for competition, having a beautiful sound like angels from heaven. Twice a week, she would have practices for her choirs after school, not just for the sakes for her, but her students, to prove that Nimitz Choir is the best out there. Mr. Hansky, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, Seahawks. This is Ms. Dolhansky here to answer important questions that you have about our school.
What is with the construction outside?
Well, that's very exciting. I think many of you thought that the construction was finished here at Nimitz, but it's not really. We're getting a lot of work on our fine arts wing. So what's happening is they're building a brand new band hall and a brand new choir hall. Miss Kelly ought to be excited about that. And our theater is being renovated with more seats, cushy seats, nice and soft cushy seats, a bigger stage, new carpet, new paint, and a bigger stage that will hold, hopefully in the future, enough students that we could maybe host the regional choir or the UIL choir events so that we could compete here at home. Kind of exciting, right? And the construction should last about a year. So by the end of next school year, we should be totally moved into our new band hall, choir hall, and theater. I'm excited about it.
I should really it'll be like my last year here, but that should be fun.
I used to be theater 6th and 7th, and it'll be really nice to see the theater be renovated for new students.
And so several people have asked, what happens to our old band hall? Well, where does our theater class hold class right now?
It's in the auditorium.
In the band hall, the old band hall will be empty, so that's going to turn into our new theater class, and we're going to turn it into a black box, which is like your practice theater.
Yeah.
So the theater will be solely used for performances, not a classroom. It's really, really exciting. I'm very excited about it. I think Miss Morales Davenport's excited, too, to have her own classroom. So that'll be fun.
Mr. Hansky, how long have you been principal here at Nimitz?
Forever. No. I've been a principal here for 8.5 years. I'm now working on 9 years. So I came to Nimitz January 2011. So I came in the middle of the year. That's why it's a half-year situation for me. But I have to tell you that I could not be prouder to be a part of this school. When my family moved to San Antonio back in 1964, I was 3 years old. But I had a brother who was 10 years older than me. So how old would that make him? 3 plus 10. 13. And when you're 13, what school are you in?
Middle school.
Middle school. So when your family moves to a new town, what are they looking for? Good schools, you think?
Good neighborhoods.
Good neighborhoods, good schools. Well, my parents moved into this neighborhood. We lived off of Linda Drive. And they wanted my brother to go to Nimitz because it was the best middle school in Northeast. And my sister and other brother went to Ridgeview Elementary. And so When I was named principal of Nimitz Middle School, I'll never forget, my dad told me, "You're the principal of the best middle school in Northeast?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I certainly am." And I have been, because it's the best middle school in Northeast.
I think any student can attest that it's a really good middle school.
It really is. I think so. We have great kids here.
My sister and my brother went to Nimitz, and ever since I was in elementary, I was like, my dad would tell me, "What middle school you want to go to?" And I was like, "I want to go to Nimitz."
Sweet. And that when they asked me what principal, or where do you want to be a principal, I said, I'll wait for Nimitz Middle School to open up. That's where I wanted to be a principal.
And I
Nowhere
remember
else.
since like my last report on like our reviews, they have gone really up. So it's kind of happy that we actually have 4 out of 5 stars, and we're still getting up to 5 stars to be the best school in any ISD still.
I think so. I think so. I'm very proud. You should be too.
Is being a principal here at Nimitz difficult?
That's a tough question. So there are some parts that are really easy. Like when I get to go watch you guys perform, whether it's in one-act play or choir or band, orchestra, athletic events, track meets, things like that. That is the easiest thing I do, because I get to walk out there and I'm not working hard. Who's working hard? The kids, right? But I get to be so proud of all the things that y'all are doing. So that part is super, super easy. The parts that are hard are when we have kids that are struggling. Maybe there's something going on at home or something going on with friends that makes it where they're afraid to come to school, or they're upset and they don't know how to handle the situation. I want to take care of everybody, right? I used to be a counselor before I was a principal. So I want to make sure that everybody feels safe and has the best opportunity to learn at school. Sometimes because of what happens out there, do y'all remember a couple years ago when they talked about the crazy clown, that stupid movie that came out, whatever, and they were like, the crazy clown's coming, they're going to shoot up the school. Then everybody's afraid to come to school because they think it's really going to happen. And how do you stop something like that when you know it's not true, but the fear is very real, right? So those are the parts that are hard for me as a principal, because I want to keep everybody safe and I want them to not worry. But we have some fabulous teachers here that make my job very easy. We have excellent kids that make my job very easy. So I'll take those hard parts every now and then, because they're not that often that they come around. But I'm trying to think, what was the other one that came up not right after the crazy clown? There was another one.
Wasn't it threats to the school about shooting it up or something?
Yeah, something. Yeah,
Instagram, Snapchat.
yeah. And people do that, I think, for the shock value and attention. But what they don't realize is they're impacting lives. They're really making it a scary place for everybody. When you think about what's happening in the world and you hear about those school shootings, that's a very scary thing. And so I feel very confident that we have a safe school, that our kids, if they see something, they say something, so that we know what's happening on our campus. And for the most part, other than those nasty rumors that are out there, we are very safe. But can I ask you guys a question, since you asked me a question?
Definitely.
What do you think about the 2 things that we put in place this year? The first thing is clear backpacks. Do you think that helps us be safer, or do you think it's just a silly thing?
Personally, it was really hard to find a clear backpack.
I agree. I agree. Does it make you feel safer?
No, not really, because like you're seeing, 2 ways it does. 1, yes. 2, no, because like girls have their own personal items that they don't want other people seeing.
Dudes to see. Yeah, that's okay.
And 1, you can see what's in their backpack if like they're holding a gun or like anything like drugs or anything, but they're still able to hide them in like their binders or anything, so I don't really feel safe anyways.
Okay.
It's almost like you have the clear backpacks, right? And that's your first line of like safety, right? You can see what's in the backpack without having to open the backpack. But you have binders, and people have those binders with the zippers in it, so they act like backpacks, and it makes no difference. It's like, oh, we'll have the clear backpacks so everyone can see what's in the back. Teachers, if they need to, without even having to open them. But then the binders are like a totally different way, you know?
So there's still another way for people to carry things in. And I totally agree with you guys. I think the clear backpacks are an attempt at providing safety, but it's kind of a weak attempt. But then let me ask you about the locked doors, because we keep the doors locked all day from the time that the bell rings till the end of the day. What do you think about that?
I think it's a really good idea. As a student, it's never really impacted me. You know, I'm like, oh man, the doors are locked. That's never really happened to me before, ever since then. But now
You get to school on time,
Yeah.
that's why.
and now I'm like, yeah, it makes total sense. The time we are in right now, we need these safety precautions to make the students and the teachers feel safe. And it's a really smart idea. I just think if Nimitz had more time, they can think of more like better ways. More better. That's it.
Poor grammar, but we got that. We got the idea. Okay, so here's what I'm going to say. How many of you remember
Me.
You remember
My
that?
brother went
Yeah,
here.
yeah. So with the new construction that is now old, because we're sitting in the new construction, we created a building that everything's connected, so you don't have to walk in and out of buildings. So it's way safer now, right?
Yeah.
And with the locked doors, you don't have to worry about it because they're locked and everybody's safe inside. But the one area that we're struggling with is our fine arts wing, right? Because you have to walk outside for band, outside for theater, outside for orchestra, outside for choir. But with the new construction, guess what? It all gets connected. So then you'll never have to walk outside. You won't have to walk outside in the cold weather like it is today, or the wet weather like some days y'all would get rained on when you're going outside. So all of this will be very connected and safe, and no one can get in the building unless they're supposed to be in the building, which to me, that provides a much safer environment for you guys than anything else, than a clear backpack for sure, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I-
Well, good. I'm glad that y'all feel better about that too. And with the new construction, it'll be even better.
I have to say that Nimitz already is a beautiful school. I used to work in yearbook in 7th grade, and I'll get to take pictures of the school, of the classes, and you really get to notice, when you have the camera, you really get to notice the beautiful parts of the school. Like the way the light floods in through the glass. It's really pretty to look at.
Aww.
And I feel that after these new constructions are done, it's going to be way more pretty. And it's going to be way more better to look at. And it's just going to overall give better, I guess, morale to students if they're in such like a nice, pretty area.
I just hope that the kids remember that. We don't have the problem with tagging like we used to. It used to be when I first came 8.5 years ago, we'd have to lock the bathrooms every day because they would tag all over the bathroom walls. And nobody does that anymore. Now, I've seen a couple just recently that didn't make me happy. And I've never understood that. I don't know why somebody tags something or writes on something. This is your home. You spend more time here than at your house during the school year. Did y'all realize that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would think that you wouldn't want to tag up your house, right?
Yeah.
And this is your home. So, back in the day when I was little, somebody would tag to indicate that this, they had been there or this was their area. Why would you do that? I don't get it. I would want it to be looking as nice and beautiful as you possibly could. So the nice thing is, since we've had the new building, all of that has kind of gone away because I think the kids are proud. They're excited about and how pretty everything looks, and I want it to stay that way.
I would like to thank Ms. Stohansky for coming onto our podcast. She's an amazing guest. We hope to have her again next time or like anytime she can. It'll be amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate the invite.
Okay, Seahawks, that's it for today. I hope you tune in for the next episode. Make sure you have a great spring break.
See you March 18th.
Don't forget